On this episode of the Kickstart My Franchise podcast, we do a deep dive on lime painting to understand what differentiates it from other painting concepts out there, how it can be run semi-absentee, and how profitable can it truly be. Let's go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Kickstart My Franchise podcast. I'm your host, Tim Michaels. On today's episode, we have an awesome guest for you. He is the director of franchise development for one of the fastest growing painting franchises in the U.S. Please welcome Dustin Costero.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Did I pronounce your name correctly is the first question.
You did, so thank you. I get a lot of everything from Coslo to Castro, but Costero is correct. You got it. It's a difficult one, but thanks.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here today. First question for our viewers is, what is lime painting? How did it get started? Give us the backstory.
Yeah, so great thing about line painting, I'm just going to say first off, is you do not have to have any painting or construction experience. This model is set up as a semi-absentee model. Our national distributors, which are the three largest, Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, and PPG, which is Pittsburgh Plate Glass Company, are doing all of the recruiting of these subcontractors or artisans for our franchisees. But this actually all started at Michigan State with our founder, Nick Lopez. Nick went to school, wrestled at Michigan State. And what happened was he realized very quickly that even with a wrestling scholarship, he wasn't going to be able to pay his bills. He was going to school for business and marketing and very quickly realized that nobody was using the higher end homes, the top 30%, as a market differentiator. When Nick realized that, he targeted those top 30% of homes, and the larger the home was, the more college tuition he could pay. So that's where it all started. It was called Spartan College Painters, again, where some of the green came from. Then Nick moved to Denver, Colorado with his wife and founded Lime Painting there in 2013. So we've been running ever since then.
That's awesome. And how large are you guys now? How many franchisees do you have out there?
Yeah, so we actually just pumped the brakes last year. We wanted to get every single franchise location open. So we just recently allowed more franchisees to come into place. Currently, well, I'll say this two different ways. We had 35 franchisees with over 80 locations open. We just signed 3 new franchise agreements, have our 4th in process this month. So we're targeting having over 100 units open by the end of the quarter, which I'm sure you know, only about 5% of franchises actually make it to that point.
Yeah, that's fantastic growth. Great to hear. And in terms of startup costs, walk us through sort of, what's the franchise fee? How much does it take to get one of these off the ground?
Yeah, so great thing about this model, and like I said earlier, is our franchisees are buying multiple territories. Now, the reason for that is you don't have to double or triple your investment. Remember, this is what's called a subcontractor model where you're not buying the equipment. You don't have a brick and mortar storefront location. You aren't staffing employees for this. The model's truly set up for you as an owner to hit the ground running with our support and succeed. Our all-in cost is $125,000 to $201,000 listed in our item 7 in our FDD. Great thing about this, like I said, is if you do buy multiple, you're not doubling, you're not tripling your investment here. You're just buying a larger surface area to sell this product into. Mm-hmm. But the great part about it, like I said, is, it's set up right away with all of our marketing technology, everything built into it, so you can plug and play in any community.
Fantastic. And in terms of the actual services that you guys are offering, I understand it's a lot more than just painting. Do you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah, and that's what I truly love about it is everybody looks at, hey, there's so many painting franchises in the industry that, what makes the right one to go with. One of the things that I always tell everybody right out of the gate is when you review our FDD, you'll see we have no litigation. We've never been sued. We have no bankruptcies. Everybody's been financially sound in our organization. So when you're partnering with the company, that's something you want to look at for long-term growth. That being said, the other wonderful thing about this is that we are, continually growing, setting things up for all of our franchisees. So we do things a little different when it comes through training. We have an online training program and all of that, but that's something we'll dig in a lot more, if we have some candidates that are looking.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you mind just talking a little bit about what the, training program looks like? If I join as a franchisee, what are you guys going to do to support me?
Awesome. Yeah, great thing about our training. So we have an online, almost like a collegiate prep course. It's called LEA. We're very big on acronyms here. If you'll catch on to that, the more you get to know it.
Nice.
LEA
Love good acronym.
Yep, Leah is Lime Elite Academy, and it's more or less an online course to prepare you to run this business. Everything A to Z, what your role will be, understanding our technology, how to bid, do everything like that. Then we have you out for a week of live training alongside us, where we're in the field, we're doing jobs, we're overseeing them, working alongside franchisees. Then one of the things that we do that most franchises don't do is when you launch, Tim, we're sending our trainers out to your market. The reason we send our trainers out is not only to book those first couple jobs so you hit the ground running and get things set up, but we're also creating those relationships with the national suppliers so that we're onboarding the subcontractors, are what we like to call artisans. So that when those jobs are booked, you have the staff in place, are the subcontractors set to actually run those jobs and complete them for you.
Awesome. And you mentioned all the different partnerships that you have with like Sherwin-Williams. I think you said Benjamin Moore. Are there any sort of cost advantages to your franchisees to partnering with them?
Definitely. Yeah. So you're getting 40 to 60% off from
Wow.
Lime's purchasing power as an organization. So the great thing about that, Tim, is remember, we're targeting the high end demographic. We're targeting that top 30% of homes, but we're not overcharging. We start at the gutters and we end down at the stamped concrete. We do every surface in between. But the great thing, like I tell everybody, is you wouldn't go to McDonald's to buy a steak. And that's really what the model is for us. When we're going out into these markets and when we're bidding these jobs, we have no competition because we're offering a service that nobody else does in the area. And the great thing about it is we're doing about 40% painting, but we're doing about 30% surface restoration and 30% coatings. So the thing I love, Tim, is I'm not coming to you and saying, hey, Tim, your house is blue. Do you want to paint it yellow tomorrow? I'm letting you know, hey, by the way, Tim, your stucco here, this is the weather from the rain and sun has cracked this. If it continues like this, you're going to have to redo your entire home stucco. That's about $150,000, $200,000 job. We can come in for a fraction of that cost, reseal that, refinish all of the stucco. It comes with the same warranty as if you do it brand new, but at a fraction of the cost. So really what we're doing is we're educating homeowners versus selling services. And it's how they can protect their largest asset, which is that home.
Fantastic. I just want to make sure I understood your last point. So are you saying that for and I'm sure this varies based off of franchisee, et cetera, but are you saying that the average franchisee has only about 40% of the revenue coming from painting?
Yep. So we have over 40 services. So painting's a big part of that, but we don't just paint homes, surface restoration. So stamped concrete gets porous. And if you don't
Hmm.
actually reseal that and refinish that, porous means it gets little holes in there from the weather. If you don't reseal and refinish that, it's going to crack and then you're going to have to replace it. Or you just look at horrible concrete. So the great part about that is we can go and do this for a fraction of the cost. And that's why as you look around your building you're at or your home you're in right now, we do everything from epoxy to metal finishes. We do surface repair, everything you're looking for. And that's the great thing is once we do the job, we always do it with a 5-star. It's done the right time, done right the first time. I apologize. And that's where our franchisees see constant, revisit where we're having these homeowners that say, hey, you did this. Now let's have you come back and complete the rest of the jobs.
Yeah, that's a fantastic amount of diversity. So I'm sure your franchisees love that. What is the typical split? And I'm sure again it varies based off of franchisee, but what's just, a typical range as far as like commercial versus residential for these services?
Yeah, so it's dependent all across the board. The reason that commercial is a little tricky sometimes is what I love about this business with the residential is, for instance, Tim, let's use your home. What we'll do is we'll walk the home, we do a bit of it, after we say, hey, we're going to do A, B, and C services today, we'll do the gutters, the stucco, and let's say stamped concrete, and we'll work on the rest later. I'm going to take a deposit from you before I start that job, anywhere from 30 to 50%. Then after the job is completed, you and I walk the home. I deliver you a key lime pie, even though it's kind of cheesy. It's one of those great things that we do at the end when the job is completed. We thank that customer for allowing us to do our service. And then you pay me the remainder. So I've had all the cash come in before I've had $1 go out to pay my subcontractor, crews, suppliers, anything like that. When you look at commercial, you're on that company's time frame. So what I mean by that is they might pay in 30, they might pay in 60, they might pay in 90 days. So we always just kind of caution our franchisees, because even though your ticket averages with commercial are going to be significantly higher, we want to make sure you have that cash flow before you take that on, because that can bankrupt your business. But long answer to a short question, I apologize. We're normally seeing about 1/3 commercial, 2/3 residential. Every franchisee is slight differently. But again, the great thing about this that Lime Painting does is we actually bid all of those jobs for our franchisees. So any commercial work in your area, Tim, we're going to do all the bids for you from our home office, and all you have to do is deliver them. So it's a great way to support you, and that way you can continue to keep more revenue coming in.
Awesome. And in terms of the, best case scenario for a franchisee that you're looking for as far as a new candidate, like what does a typical profile look like? What kind of traits do they have to have in order to be successful?
Yeah, so we have a model that works both ways, semi-absentee and hands-on owner. If you are looking semi-absentee, we do like them to have a higher level of management or business ownership. Because when you're managing that manager, that's a skill that you learn how to run that. Now, we assist with hiring, implementing, and recruiting that general manager into the model. Then that actual franchisee just makes that hire based on if their personality fit and all of that. So we support through that. But really what we're looking for is, we don't want people who are buying a job. We want empire builders here, people with sales, management experience, people that follow the system, aren't looking to reinvent the wheel. And we're looking for people that are looking to grow this model. The great thing about the way it's set up is it's a plug and play, like I said, in your community with the support we have put in place. And we're looking for those empire builders that are looking to, build their communities.
Awesome. And what does a day in the life look like? I'm sure it varies if I'm a semi-absentee versus an owner operator, but maybe you can just comment on what both of those, what does a typical day look like, if there
Yeah.
is such a thing?
Yeah, so great thing about that is, depending upon where you're at too, like Denver, Colorado, where we're based out of, you get snow for 4 months out of the year. So it's slightly different. I mean, you're not going to be out painting homes in the snow. You'll be doing more interior jobs and booking jobs for, when that snow melts away. But normally what you'll see for a hands-on owner is you're looking about Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, a normal 9 to 5. But the great thing, like I said, is you're not painting homes. You're managing a painting business. So what that means is you can run your entire business all directly from a cell phone. We're a very technology forward company. So as an owner, you're going and walking homes with these customers. You're actually bidding these homes for them. One of the cool things we have is, I know that, hey, you're offering over 40 services. I'm concerned if I can do all that. We have an actual proprietary software that you take a 5-minute video of the home, upload it through our CRM, and then we turn around the bids at the corporate office. So if you ever have any candidates that say, hey, I think that's a little bit too much for me, we train them on how to bid them, but we also have a built-in proprietary software to do the bidding for them. But that's what you're doing, is you're meeting with customers, you're educating them, you're in the Chamber of Commerce, you're working with realtors, things of that nature, to continue to drive Lime Painting. And that's normally what's happening, is you're managing job sites, overseeing production. But what I love about this, like I said, is it's a subcontractor job. So what that means is that our national suppliers are making sure you have the best painters in your market, so that continues to have that 5-star Lime Painting.
Fantastic. Yeah, and one thing that I've heard is that, there are people sort of voicing concerns about getting labor. I know it's subcontractor labor. Can you touch on briefly, like, how difficult is it in today's climate for your franchisees to find these painters?
And that's what I love about this is so we're selling all of the high-end coatings and paint from the three largest paint distributors, which are Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, and PPG. So they are heavily vested in line painting to keep us in business. So they actually do the onboarding and help us find all of the painters for our franchisees. That's why we send our trainers out into the market to set up those relationships, onboard those, and make sure that that's put in place. So when you're looking at labor, the great part about this model is subcontractors are what we call artisans. They're fantastic painters, but they aren't always good business owners. So if we're taking that part that they're not good at, which is interacting with the customer, we're doing larger jobs for more pay. So we're keeping those artisans in business. And that's the great thing about it is you'll come to find out these subcontractors, they'll end up just working for you for the life of your business. We've had a lot of our franchisees that, the first subcontractor or artisan crew they brought on, they're still working for them 5, 10 years later.
Awesome. Sounds very interesting, very intriguing. I'm curious, I know that the item 19 is often a closely guarded secret at many franchises. Is there any, sneak peek or high level overview that you're able to provide, for our listeners here?
And that's the best thing about this too, is if you're looking at a painting company or really anything in that home improvement, home services space, our ticket average is 4 times the industry average. Again, because we're offering so many services. We're not just a painting company. We're just shy of $14,000 as an average ticket size in our item 19. And the cool thing about ours that we do is we break it down. We go $0 to $10,000 jobs, $10 to $20,000 jobs, and $30,000 and up. And so that's the great thing about the way that this model's set up is it's very easy for people to look through and see what that revenue would look like for them as an owner. We also get everybody directly into validation right away too, because that's the most important part is speaking to people that were sitting in your seat before, figuring out not only if, hey, would they do it again, but also to hear that support. It's great to hear it from me, but when you hear it from somebody that's doing exactly what you're going to be doing in the future, that helps our owners a lot more, our potential franchisees a lot more.
Absolutely. Are there any last, questions, things I didn't address that you think is helpful or would be interesting to share with our audience?
Yeah, and the great thing about it, like I said, is line painting. We're a little bit newer of a brand. We've been around since 2013. We have about 39 franchisees, about 90 territories that are just about to be open and running. But the thing you're going to find out from us is support. We are only as good as our franchisees. And that's the great thing about our model is we do everything possible to make sure that our franchisees have the support, not only to get off and get this business running, but also to continue to scale as they work through that. So that's the thing you'll find out about line painting is we're actually in an area of our own. We're not dealing with any competition. And the great part about that is, we're priced in the market where we're running this very successfully.
Well, it sounds like a great opportunity and a very fast growing brand. So really appreciate your time here today, Dustin.
I appreciate it too, Tim. Thank you for letting me be a part of this and line painting's looking forward to helping any way that we can.